Hi, lovelies. Today I want to share a powerful story about how Grace found my mother, who narrowly missed Elle. I need you to understand that these are not stories I would want to share, but I cannot say no to the one who rules my life. In the year 2000, my mom and I visited Idore. My mother was the only child of her mother who had passed shortly after giving birth to her. That day, I remember hearing a loud argument coming from inside between my mother and her father. To anyone who knew my mom, this was shocking. She was always quiet, barely able to raise her voice, let alone argue with her own father. My grandfather had several wives, if I'm certain about that, and I was outside with two of them, listening to my mom's voice raised in anger. Eventually, she stormed out. She grabbed my hand and told him, "You will never see me again." Oh, she was deeply hurt. But she didn't share the details, only saying he had said things that upset her. Okay? This whole scene happened on a Tuesday. By Friday of that same week, we were back in our home in Ikiro, where we lived. I remember sitting across from the mirror while my mom was getting ready. Suddenly, something strange caught my eye. When I looked at her reflection, it looked like she was decaying from the mirror. I wasn't sleeping. Her face was distorted as though they were decomposing. Her features appeared wrong. Her mouth and nose were misaligned. Her eyes looked empty. It was so disturbing. So I called my sister over to see if she could see what I saw. She looked at the mirror and said everything was fine. Okay, I tested it, asking my sister to stand in front of the same mirror, and she looked normal. I wasn't sleeping. But when my mom stood in front of it again, I saw the same decayed image. These things happened in real time. It was not in my dream. We moved on, brushing it off, thinking little of it. How foolish we were to ignore that. That Sunday, I felt a deep unease, a heaviness in my spirit that I couldn't ignore. It was the Holy Spirit urging me. Although I didn't realize it at that time, I felt compelled to talk to my mom about forgiveness. I went to her and I said, I quote verbatim, these were my words to my mom. "Mom, you know you have to forgive your dad, because if you die tomorrow, you won't make it to heaven." She became sober and thoughtful. She looked at me and said, "I have forgiven him." I brought her a Bible and asked her to promise. Matter of fact, I asked her to swear, and she said, holding it, "I promise I have forgiven my dad. It is a sin to swear with the Bible." So she promised we were going to visit him on Tuesday. But she never made it to Tuesday. She passed away early the next morning. In the years that followed, as I grew in my walk with Christ, I came to realize the words I had spoken to my mother that Sunday were not mine. The Holy Spirit had spoken through me, preparing her, offering her mercy. I didn't understand it at that time, but now I see it clearly. God in His mercy gave her a final chance to forgive, to find peace, and to be with Him. My mother was never sick. I remember my dad saying when we got to the mortuary, my wife of 25 years in marriage, that never complained of a headache. I don't know all the Bible verses that speak to this, but I know one thing for certain. Everyone who enters heaven does so by God's mercy. When it is our time to stand before Him, it is His mercy that will open the door. Earlier this year, in a dream, I saw Jesus. He told me, "You were the vessel that helped your mom make it to heaven. Now it is time to help your dad." My father was a reverend, but titles don't guarantee salvation. He too needed God's mercy. When God tells me the time is right, I will share more about how God's mercy found my father. Until then, my prayer is that we all find grace and mercy in the sight of our Creator. May we each be counted worthy when our time comes. Until then,